If you're moving to Houston from another state, there is a moment during the home buying process that can take you from completely excited to completely panicked in about 5 minutes. And that day is inspection day. Yesterday, you loved the house. You were mentally arranging the furniture, deciding who gets which bedroom, and maybe even figuring out where your Christmas tree is going to go. Then, the inspection report arrives. It is 65 pages long. There are red marks everywhere. Words like foundation movement, electrical deficiency, moisture intrusion, and HVAC deterioration suddenly start jumping off the page. And somewhere around page 32, you start thinking, what in the world did we just buy? So before you cancel the contract and start looking at apartments, there is something really important I want you to know. An inspection report is not a repair list. I'm Sheila Ochsner, a realtor serving Katy and Greater Houston, and I help people relocating to this area understand not only how to find a house, but how to make good decisions once they find one. And one of the most emotional parts of buying a home, especially when you're relocating, can be the inspection. The inspector's job is to evaluate the home and document the deficiencies they observe. That does not automatically mean every item needs to be repaired. Every item should be negotiated, or every item is a reason to walk away. Some findings are important. Some need another professional opinion. Some may be relatively simple. And some are just part of owning the house. So let's talk about 5 things that can sound especially scary on a Houston home inspection. The first is probably the one that gets the biggest reaction, and that is foundation movement. If you're coming from another part of the country and your inspector starts talking about cracks, movement, or signs of foundation performance, it can sound like the entire house is about to sink into the ground. That is not necessarily what it means. Houston area homes are built on soil that moves. So we pay attention to things like cracks, doors that don't operate properly, separation around windows, and other visible signs that may indicate movement. But here's something I tell buyers all the time. A crack is a clue. It's not a diagnosis. If there are enough indicators to cause concern, the right next step may be to bring in a structural engineer or another qualified professional who can evaluate what is actually happening. We don't panic. We get more information. Number 2 is electrical findings. Inspection reports can include phrases like missing GFCI protection, double tap breakers, improper wiring, or deficiencies in the electrical panel. And if you don't know what any of these things mean, they can sound pretty terrifying. However, electrical findings can range from relatively simple corrections to something that absolutely deserves evaluation by a licensed electrician. This is where context really matters. The question isn't simply, did the inspector write it down? The question that we should be asking are, is this a safety issue? How significant is it? Do we need another professional to look at it? What might it cost to correct this? Those answers are far more useful than simply assuming everything listed on the report needs to become part of a repair request. Number 3 is the roof. This is the one where buyers tend to focus heavily on the age. Age certainly matters, especially when we start thinking about insurance and future replacement costs. But condition also matters. Has the roof been properly maintained? Are there signs of active leaks? Are there damaged or missing shingles? Has there been previous repair work? A previous roof repair does not automatically mean there's something wrong with the house. We have lots of wind here and storms. But if the inspector finds evidence of active leaking or significant deterioration, now we have something worth investigating. Again, the goal is not perfection. The goal is understanding risk and the cost. Number 4 is the HVAC system. If you have never lived through a Houston August, you may not yet understand just how emotionally attached you are going to become to your air conditioner. You are going to love that thing like a member of your family. So yes, I pay attention to HVAC systems, and so should you. If the system is older, I want to know more. Is it cooling properly? Has it been maintained? Is the temperature differential appropriate? Is there visible deterioration? Are there deficiencies that should be evaluated by an HVAC professional? An older HVAC system is not automatically a bad system, and a newer system is not automatically problem-free. What matters is what you are buying today and what you may reasonably need to budget for in the future. Because finding out in August that your air conditioner has decided to retire is not the kind of Houston welcome gift I want for you. I've been there. And number 5 is water or moisture. This is one where I do want buyers to pay attention. An inspector may find staining, evidence of previous water penetration, moisture in the attic, plumbing concerns, or signs that water has been somewhere it shouldn't be. But even here, we need context. Is it old staining from something that was repaired years ago? Is there an active leak? Do we need a plumber, roofer, or another specialist to evaluate it for us? The presence of a stain does not automatically tell us the whole story. And this is where the inspection process becomes less about reacting to scary words and more about asking good questions. Because when you are relocating, everything already feels bigger. You may be leaving family and friends, starting a new job, learning new roads, hello I-10, finding new doctors, restaurants, and grocery stores, trying to figure out why Houstonians call the same freeway 3 different things. Then somebody hands you a giant report listing everything they found wrong with the house you just agreed to go under contract with. Of course that feels overwhelming. It would to anyone. But here's what I want you to remember. The goal of an inspection is not to prove that you bought a perfect house. Perfect houses don't exist, not even new construction. The goal is to understand what you're buying. What is a safety concern based on this report? What could become expensive later that we may want to ask the seller to fix? What deserves another opinion? What can reasonably be repaired? What might need to be budgeted for a later expense? And what is simply part of owning and maintaining a home? That's where a good inspector and experienced real estate agent become incredibly valuable. We take that giant report and start separating it into categories. The things that actually matter. What needs more information? What we may want to address during negotiations? And what probably doesn't need to become a deal breaker. Because I never want fear making the decision for you. I want information making the decision for you. If you're relocating to Katy, Houston, or the greater Houston area, Subscribe because this series is about the things people often don't know they need to ask until they're already here. And our next topic is the big one. Can a Houston home flood even if it isn't in a designated flood zone? We need to talk about that one. I'm Sheila Ochsner, realtor here with Keller Williams Premier, serving Katy and the greater Houston area. If you're planning a move to the Houston area, I'd love to help make the process feel a little less overwhelming and a lot more manageable. See you next time. Bye.